Hey there and welcome back to Sonic Safari, a channel featuring tales of record collecting. I'm your host Marcus, a Swedish hipster lost in the fog in San Francisco. So last week we talked about how I sleeve my records, so not so much what inner and outer sleeves I use, but what direction I put them in to both protect them and to have an easy access to my records. So if you haven't checked out that video yet, please do. Today I wanted to talk about my habits for when I get new and used records before I put them into my collection. But before that, this. So I've had an itch to make videos in the vinyl community for quite some time now, and it is also kind of nerve-wracking to get in front of the camera and see yourself and especially hear yourself. So your feedback has been so amazing and it really means the world to me and has given me a lot of energy to continue. So I really thank you for that. So to celebrate all of you and the vinyl community as a whole, really, I wanted to do a giveaway when I hit 50 subs, but that flew by. So I was aiming for 75, but that also just flew by the last day. So let's try for 100 instead. And the game is very, very silly. So I think we all know the concept of speed dating. You know, that awkward moment when you're interchanging quick questions to see if you connect with a person or not. And the game that I wanted to do is a speed dating for record collectors. This is just kind of a silly game to see if we can connect with other people that might have a similar taste like you or approach record collecting the same way as you do, just a way to widen the community, really. So you can either just drop a comment below with your answers or make a video. It's really up to you and it's not required, but I would love you to nominate 1 or 2 people to do it just to spread the word. Of the people who do it, I will pick not 1, not 2, but 3 people that will get a $25 gift card to use in your favorite local independent record store. I will pick the winners on April the 1st, and no, this is not a joke. Personally, I will nominate the vinyl guru in the house for being the Beyonce of the vinyl community, and also Rob Walker for just being such a nice guy, and he supported me from day one to spread the word, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Let the speed dating begin. Swipe left or right. So on and off for about 30 years now, but really the last 10 years is when I've started to buy quite a lot of vinyl. Picky. I'm just short of 1,000. It's really the soundtrack to my life, and I love the thrill of hunting. Are overrated? Not worth the extra cost, but I like them. An essential tool that I think could step it up in adding new features. A great source for limited editions of records if you have the patience to wait for them. Weirdly satisfying on Japanese releases only. Are getting out of hand. Tunnel Records in San Francisco, the best there is. Mr. Bongo for music that you've never heard of. Alala's self-titled The Sound of California. Shout Out Loud's debut album Howl Howl Gaff Gaff, please, thank you. It's actually a tie, Chet Baker and Bill Evans, 21 of each. I would say about 50% jazz, 45% indie and alternative, and 5% soul. I mean, who doesn't love a great OG, but for the price, the reissues now are so high quality, it's hard to not buy them. It's about 95% vinyl, 4% box set, and 1% CDs. It's the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So really more affordable records that everyone can buy. Okay, and that's really it. I hope this is just a fun, easy game to play, and maybe in the end you end up meeting some new people. I look forward to seeing your responses. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about my habits for when I get new or used records. And this in part came from the video last week when I talked about how I sleeve my records. And I realized that I have a very specific process for how I treat my records from when I bought them to when they go into my collection. So I wanted to share it with you and also obviously get your input on how you do it. But before we get into that, please like and subscribe. It helps me more than you think. Okay, so first of all, the setup. this is what I need: a knife and a scissor, inner and outer sleeves, the cleaning set, and a cloth. First of all, let's open the record. Surprise, surprise. And this sounds so stupid, I know, but I have wrecked records from being overly eager, especially the corner, so this is how I do it. Either go in from the opening of the vinyl jacket to get the plastic open and then gently get it off, and again be careful with the corner as I have bent a couple over the years. You can also look for the joint of the plastic wrapping and pull it out and cut it open, and then go from there. So let's talk about the hype stickers. I throw them away, to be honest. I don't see any value in keeping them. When it comes to the obi, I do keep them, but not always. The ones on Japanese releases, of course, look amazing, and in part this is why we buy them. But others, like the VinylMePlease one, for example, I'm not really a fan of, as they look very plain, so I either slide them behind the record in the outer sleeve or throw them away. I do change the outer sleeve to a new one unless the jacket happens to be in excellent shape already, but this rarely happens as most records come in shrink wrap, in an outer sleeve that is taped shut or a sleeve that has seen better days. If it is a second-hand record, I do wipe it off gently with a light, moist cloth to get any light smudges off, and then let it dry for a couple of minutes. I definitely do not rub hard as this can damage the jacket, so just a very light hand. I don't normally clean new records as they should be clean already. For secondhand ones, I do clean them using my Groove washer set, which I am very happy with. It's not going to be the deepest clean, but it's enough in my experience and it's fast to do. So I spray the record with 3 sprays, let it sit for about 30 seconds, and then use one side of the brush to clean it in 3 circular motions, and then use the other dry side to dry the vinyl with an additional 3 circular motions, and let it dry for a couple of minutes. Once this is done, I sleeve the vinyl in a MoFi sleeve. Okay, now I'm going to log the record on Discogs, and there are basically 2 ways to find the correct pressing. Either use the barcode to scan the record and make sure the year is the same, if it says the year on the jacket, that is, and if this doesn't match or the record does not have a barcode, I use the stamping in the dead wax, so the area closest to the label at the center of the record, and here you can find a code that you can search. At a time, there can still be multiple releases to choose from. If that's the case, I use the images of the record to match the color on the label, or details like stereo versus mono to find the exact one. And to be clear, it can happen that you don't find it because it's simply not there. So if that happens, then you just add it to the database. Okay, now when I'm done logging it on Discogs, it is going in my recent arrival bin to be listened to before it goes into my collection. Okay, so that's my habit for when I buy new or used records. Hopefully this is useful and maybe it's a tip for how you could do it. And I also would love to hear what your habit is. All right, so that's it for today's episode. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. On next week's video, we're looking at Discogs and the wish list for features I would love to see. Until then, tack och adjö.